everyone, and welcome back to the Rise Factor. I am your host, Sarah Cincotta, and today I have the amazing Kasey Lawrence joining me from the Rental Network, who is also a dear friend of mine and another trainer in the property management space. So welcome, Kasey.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Been a long time coming. We've done so
It
many
has
things
2 years in the
together,
making. Yeah.
supported each other's journey because our journeys are quite similar in terms of where our businesses are at and our background, and you're doing some really incredible things in the property management space. And sometimes I think, it would be great to have like a fly on the wall with a little mic recording our conversation. So I was
I
like,
know.
what better way to have you on and have a convo about something that we're really passionate about? But
Yeah.
before we get into that, Kasey, for those that may not know who you are, who's Kasey Lawrence?
Kasey Lawrence is a mum of three beautiful little girls, 6, 4, and 18 months. So I'm very much in the trenches, coming out the other side of school holidays almost. Next week we're
Yay.
back to normal programming. So yeah, I'm a mum of three beautiful girls. I am a 20-year veteran in the property management space, and I love helping agencies and property managers thrive in this space. So I'm excited to, deep dive into a very important aspect or piece that's missing in the space today with you and get into it.
Yeah, awesome. And Kasey, you do have such great knowledge, and you are helping a lot of property management professionals, directors, department managers within their businesses. And one of the things that we've found or discussed or have helping clients with is onboarding. And it was a conversation that has come up between us because of my recent experiences and experiences that I have found with agencies that I've worked for. So I guess from my point of view, I think when we look at onboarding it's not just an admin task. It's really a chance to build on that trust and gain that momentum with our landlords and our renters. So, what kind of first impressions do you think are really important when it comes to onboarding a new landlord or a new tenant?
I think the care factor initially, for sure. It's a huge opportunity that is being missed by a lot of agencies and agents to really grab that onboarding at the beginning of a relationship and nurture and guide your clients and give them confidence in you as an agent and an agency that you are going to protect them and their asset and have their best interests at heart.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree. And what do you think is the link between a strong onboarding experience and let's just say weak onboarding experience? Like what is that missing link? Is it still
Yeah.
the care factor or is it something else?
The education and the managing client expectations, and the difference with having a good onboarding or a onboarding is in general is that you get to educate your clients and then therefore manage their expectations. Not having an onboarding, you'll find, and I find this when I go into agencies and clients that are talking to me about it, is there's a lot of conflict and issues throughout the tenancy, which is contributing to the stress that the agents feel because they don't know what's going on. On both sides, clients, the landlords, the owners and the renters. So not educating them and giving that information they need as to how the tenancy will go definitely increases the conflict and the stress that happens throughout a tenancy.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you think at the moment investors are viewing as onboarding? Like what do they think onboarding is?
Oh, I don't know if they know what onboarding is. That's our job to educate them on that.
Mm,
I think they would be used to not having an onboarding, that, they sign a management authority, we lease the property, and that's the onboarding. But it should be a lot more thorough and in depth than that. We should be going through every aspect of the tenancy from start to finish, how it works, what we do, what they can expect, when they can expect to hear from us, and we're gauging. They're gauging our expectations, what we need from them throughout the tenancy, but we can get an understanding of what their expectations are. We can nut out, do they have a different reality or perception as to how this will go? compared to how it should and will go. So just aligning those expectations between both parties so there's no ambiguity,
It's a
ambiguity
tricky word, yeah.
throughout the tenancy. And then that's obviously what creates the conflict and the confusion.
Yeah, for sure. I like completely agree. And I think, there's been a lot of talks at the moment. Like I've been to a few conferences and a lot of trainers are in the same that we're sharing the same message at the moment, which is great to see. And it's like, let's start putting our eyes in the eyes of our consumers, being our landlords and our tenants or our buyers or our sellers, and seeing like what they actually need from that onboarding experience rather than what we think that they need. So I think that's really important. I mean, Kasey, I'm a renter and a landlord, and every single property manager I've personally had or property manager I've had has been a renter. The onboarding experience has sucked or been non-existent.
Yeah.
So I have like a bit of I suppose like analogy when it comes to onboarding, and would love to like hear your thoughts on this as well. What I've been advising some people is okay, you've stayed in Airbnb, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And when you stay at Airbnb, you get greeted with like a welcome home booklet. There might be like milk, some bread on the bench, or like some wine. You've got fresh towels on the bed. These are the places that you should go to. And, down the road, you've got X, Y, and Z. And I was like, why can't we be creating that same experience for our renters? And not just that experience for our renters and that proper like welcome home experience, but having the landlords be involved in that process and being like, hey, your neighbor Gary has lived in the property next door for 30 plus years, is an absolute legend, loves a glass of wine. Go over and say hi. And you might even mow your nature strip. And true story, Kasey, that was my neighbor Gary for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
But like these are little touch points that we can be putting into to helping our landlords. And even when it comes to onboarding, making sure that the properties have a booklet, or even if it's digital now, the manuals, and this is how to use things. This is what the bins go out. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it should be a necessity. It's especially how to use the appliances in the property and how everything works in the home. It's an exciting time for renters when they get a new home and move into a new home, and property managers are often leaving the keys at reception for them to just grab from reception. And it's a very impersonal experience. They're excited to be moving into their new home and creating new memories with their family. And for the property manager not to even have the time to go and greet them and hand their keys or give them a welcome pack, induction on the property, is missing a huge opportunity to deliver that exceptional customer service, which will then in turn come back tenfold.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a great lead way into the next thing, is about the emotional side of new clients, because new landlords are often anxious or uncertain or overwhelmed, stressed, like they've had so much going on, so much to think about. And the same thing with our tenants, right? They're feeling anxious, uncertain, like, what are we going to walk into when we open the door? Because generally they might be viewing properties when they're seeing other tenants' belongings in there, or the owners have moved in there. There's so many different emotions and feelings going on at that time. So what do you think are some things that we can be doing to help with that emotional side of our new clients as, a BDM or a property manager?
Yeah, asking questions, getting to know who it is that you're working with, because it is a relationship that will be long term, essentially. We can't be treating from the owner's side of things. First, I'll touch on that. It's not a one glove fits all approach to our clients. They are different. Like you said, your first time investors, your mum and dad investors, your seasoned investors, they are all different with different needs, and they should be treated accordingly, based on what it is they're needing. Your seasoned investors, they don't want to be handheld. They don't need to be handheld. They just want the facts, the money, someone in there to pay the rent, and essentially look after the place. They don't need to know the nitty-gritty details. Your first-time investors, your mum and dad investors, those that have that real emotional connection to the home need to be handheld and want to be handheld. So it's a skill for a property manager to be up and a BDM to be able to differentiate between the different investors in the market and deliver the service accordingly. Yes, the nuts and bolts are the same. We're doing the same, hands-on service, but the emotional service needs to adapt for our clients. And that's how we can give them that experience. And same with your renters, getting to know them, asking them questions, because it does come down to the foundation of building that positive relationship with your clients on both ends, owners and renters. Both relationships are equally important. And if you really nurture those relationships and work on building that foundation of trust, the impact it has on your relationship with them throughout the tenancy and the impact it has on the tenancy are astronomical, through the roof. The difference is complete opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. So I guess like let's talk about that, Kasey. A lot of people know I've just moved home on Monday as a tenant now again, and we didn't even have one phone call at all from our current property manager to say congratulations on your application being approved. Here's the next steps. All the paperwork hasn't been digital. It's been a paper condition report. We've had to download a lease agreement. Condition report, it was, the previous tenants had been living here for 6 years. It's like they used the same condition report and didn't update. It took me hours to redo it. So the things that I'm feeling at the moment, Kasey, not putting it lightly, is I'm pretty frustrated.
I was just going to ask, how are you feeling about that?
I'm feeling frustrated. We've all got things going on in our lives, like, work, our children, our partners, our friends and family. The last thing that I wanted to do was spend 3 hours taking photos, writing out a condition report. And now that hasn't given me confidence in the rest of the tenancy, and these things has got nothing to do with the landlord, right? It's a pure reflection on tenancy. So I think some things that you said earlier was just about clarity, like get clarity on what the needs are of your landlord, right? What service do they want? What are their expectations? And then make sure that we give them that reassurance and responsiveness that they deserve, and acknowledge that these are why we have these things in place, so that your renters move in happy, that they're not stressed, that they're at ease, and having that the right foot going forward for the tenancy, right? I think
100%. And the situation you've just described that you've personally just experienced has already put a negative or sour taste on the relationship. So every interaction you're going to have with them moving forward is going to have that negative connotation already associated. So you're not going to expect much from them. You're probably going to follow them up more than what you would had you had a positive experience. And all of that has that negative knock-on effect then for the agent and how they're feeling about work and their job and their clients, because you don't have the trust in them. And as a result of that, you're following them up more. You might have a different attitude towards your approach to them, which they feel on the back end. They then feel clogged down, negative about their job. But had you had a good experience, it would have completely changed your relationship with them throughout your tenancy.
Absolutely. And they probably wouldn't be thinking, oh, far out, this Sarah's a pain in the ass. Because, they probably are thinking that because of all the emails and all of the things.
Yeah, because you don't have the clarity. You don't know what's happening or what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So one of the things that, I hear or I see or have experienced myself as being in the industry is this breakdown between a BDM and a property manager, or the BDM and the leasing agent, or the PM and the leasing agent, because of the handover process or lack of handover process. So what do you think is the most common breakdown that you see between the BDM and the PM handover?
There is none. That's the biggest problem. There's none. They've leased a property. Here's your tenants. They've moved in. Off you go. To be blunt, there's none. Which is, then obviously causes tension amongst the team, tension amongst the tenancy, and issues arise from that because there has been no handover.
Yeah. And I think we need to remember that handover is not, well, it should be a meeting between a BDM and a property manager and going through, well, this is the landlord, this is their expectations, these are their needs, this is the service, these are the expectations that, they've advised, and this is your renters, this is who they are, this is what they do,
Yeah,
da, 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 right? And
yeah,
have a proper process. Like we should be having a proper checklist
yeah.
of all of the things that we need to cover off. And even when we're looking at all of the legislation now, and this is one of the biggest things that I see complaints between the property manager to the BDM is like, why hasn't this been done? Like,
Mm,
and now, in Victoria particularly, we can't not have those compliance checks
yeah,
done, not have those
yeah,
standards done. But
yeah,
there was a proper process and a proper meeting between the BDM and PM. I feel like that breakdown and those things won't occur. So,
yeah.
what do you think is best practice, Kasey, for the BDM and property managers for a proper handover?
Oh, a few aspects of it. I'll go back right to the start of the BDM listing the property. There needs to be standards there, and incentives or commissions based around those standards, so that they're not bringing on properties for the sake of leasing, for the sake of listing them to get the commission, with no care factor for the property managers who are going to have to be managing it. That's probably the first thing, standards around that. And then based on their commission, checklist of has A, B, C, D, E been done. Based on all of those things being done is a condition of that commission being paid. So I think that'd be a good place to start. And then in terms of the handover, a few different steps. How good would it be if the owner got a Zoom call with the BDM and the property manager, introducing them all on a Zoom call? This is your new property manager. This is where we're at with the property. This is where Sarah's going to take over from here. I'm always here in the background, but this is your main point of contact moving forward. And then same with the renter. They come and collect the keys. The BDM and the property manager both meet them and do the handover there. Hi, Sarah. Nice to see you. Congratulations on moving day. I'd like to introduce you to Kasey, who's going to be your property manager moving forward. And these are the expectations with you and her relationship moving forward in terms of contact and what you can expect. And then obviously a private meeting between the BDM and the PM. But they're really, if there is the appropriate checklists and procedures in place in that workflow, there would barely even need to be a meeting because between the property manager and the BDM, because it should all be workflow checklist bouncing from person to person, and you would know exactly where it's at when you've done that key handover with the renter. You've got your file, which is electronic, with your checklist, and you know where everything's at. So I think the robust systems and procedures are the foundation of that relationship and that handover, to make sure that everyone is across every aspect of it. But it doesn't have to be 15 different meetings between the PM and the BDM. It should all be on the workflow.
Yeah, I completely agree. What details do you think matter the most with a handover that you think perhaps often get missed?
Yeah, well, I think if the BDM's done an onboarding with the owner, definitely passing on their expectations and the outcome of that onboarding. What is the kind of contact they're wanting? What's their expectations between management? What kind of client do we have here in terms of the service that then you need to deliver as a property manager, so that there's no misalignment there between what the BDM's promised and what the PM's going to deliver. And I think that's probably where the boat can get rocky once the property manager now has the client and they're not aware of the service delivery or the service expectation that the BDM's promised. So being super clear on that conversation, what you've discussed, and so the property manager knows what their expectation is and the service that they need to be delivering.
Yeah. I have a question, Kasey. A lot of BDMs don't work 9 to 5, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that is setting up already failure for them when it goes to the property manager because they aren't working between the hours of 9 to 5? So then they have this false expectation that the property managers will also be accessible and available beyond those hours.
No, I think again, that's just setting those expectations and those boundaries with your client. So having that conversation and outlining that with the clients so that there is no uncertainty. If you don't have that conversation, yes, it's a problem because they will expect to have the same level of service and out of hours contact with the property manager. But letting that know from the very start, I'm the BDM, this is when I can be contacted. When it does move to the PM, it is 9 to 5 or whatever the hours are. But just having the conversation, anything's okay and clear as long as you have a conversation about it.
Yeah, cool. So
Yeah.
some takeaways there, Kasey, getting to know your standards, having the systems and processes, making sure the team is aligned, having that care factor, so understanding your client, not just the facts, so personality, their
Yeah.
goals, concerns, doing their handover via Zoom, not just like via a text or an email. I think that's
Yeah.
really important. And even with the handover to the renters, same thing, like having those in person or Zoom
Yeah.
meetings so that you can introduce. I think that there's some really key things. And also, anyone that's listening or watching this episode, keep in mind that AI in tech is evolving very rapidly, and I think more quickly than some of us can comprehend. If these Zoom meetings don't take place, or that care factor isn't there, and you don't get to know your clients on a personal level, then yeah, things can just be automated. BDMs
Yeah.
and managers, which means that, do we really need you?
Yeah. Don't make yourself replaceable.
Don't
Like,
make
you
yourself.
know,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
heard, I listened to Tony Robbins' podcast with on the Diary of a CEO recently, and
Mm.
it was a fantastic podcast. And Tony Robbins said that every day we should be focusing on making ourselves more valuable
Yeah.
as individuals and
Mm.
to the people that we serve.
Yeah.
I think that's a really important reminder for property managers and BDMs is the service that we provide is to the landlord and the tenants.
Yes.
Right? So let's start treating them as fucking humans
Yeah.
and have that care factor. Take your time, slow it down,
Mhm.
and create those emotional stickiness moments with them.
Yeah.
Like, let's highlight that it's a milestone and a great achievement, the fact that they have an
Yeah.
investment property, right?
Yeah.
Let's acknowledge the renters who maybe they've been looking for a property for
Yes.
4 months,
Yeah. This is
finally
huge
found.
stress relief for them. Yeah. That they
Yeah, like,
found a home. Yeah.
oh, they get to be like, oh my God, I can breathe. I don't have to look at a house
No.
anymore.
Yeah.
Don't have to keep looking online for new homes. Like, let's start acknowledging that. And I think
Yeah.
we need it, right? We get slammed, and it's been like this for years, Kasey, right? In property
Yeah.
management, slammed, right? From all different avenues,
Yeah.
news, travel pingers, Facebook groups, TikTok. But I feel like that emotional stickiness that we can create
Yeah.
is going to help really elevate the perception that
Yeah.
outsiders
Yeah.
have of us.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got the ability to change that with the service that we deliver and the connection that we have with our clients. It's totally in our control to change the reputation and the perception that property managers and agents have in this country. But it starts with us.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So onboarding has been, let's just, say it's been amazing. We've done a really great experience for the landlords and the tenants. We've listed the property, we've leased it. Then what, Kasey? Because typically then it's like, all right, the renter might report some maintenance. There might be a few teething issues then, but again, it's just all property management focused. What are some ideas for, BDMs or property managers to look within the first 30 days, right, to elevate the experience that the landlords and the tenants are having with the agency or the person?
Yeah, I think a really good point of difference and another opportunity that is being missed to build on that relationship and that connection with your clients is within that 30 days doing a touch base. Let the renters settle in. They've had a chance to use the property, get familiar with the property. Let's be proactive and make that call to them. How are you going? How are you settling in? Is there anything you're unsure of? It's really going to build on that relationship, and the foundation of trust is what the goal needs to be with our clients, getting that foundation of trust. And it starts with little things like that. So have that conversation with the renter and then have the conversation with the owner. I've just called your renter to see how they were going. I've touched base, settling in really well, nothing to report. I just wanted to give you that great feedback. The owner would be like, wow, I've never had a call like that from my property manager before. And then do you know what? They start talking.
Yeah.
Referring. So, those little points of difference that, and the property managers listening to this probably thinking, when am I going to get the time to do that? If you've got the right systems and procedures in place and you have that trust with your clients, you will have the time to do this and nurture those relationships. But if you are working proactively, you don't have the trust, there's a lot of conflict in your portfolio, you won't have the time to do it. It's as simple as that. So getting it back on the right track to be able to do these little 1%ers that make a huge difference in your life as a property manager as well.
Yeah, key point, Casey, you said like those touch points or check-ins are going to build massive trust in the long
Yeah.
run. So like
Yeah.
that first 30 days will typically be the property manager. What about like let's look at BDMs, right? Because they're the
Yeah.
ones that getting the new
Yeah.
client on board, and sometimes that can take years just to get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we want to look at that touch point. So if it's the property manager within the first 30 days, then maybe perhaps let's look at within the first 90
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
What do you think could be a good touch point for a BDM within that 90 days?
After that first routine inspection, I think that would be a really good touch point for, or is a good touch point for the BDMs, but they need to have a conversation with the property manager first. So, or view the report. They need to know the conversation they're going in or about to have. So, asking them, have they received the report? Is there anything they're unsure of? Are you happy with how the tenancy is going? But knowing what the report is and what the outcome of that inspection was before you make that call to the owner. Because if it has been a negative inspection and there are issues, then that's the avenue you can go down with the client too. That I heard the routine wasn't that great. I just want to assure you that Sarah's on top of it. She's doing A, B, and C. I just wanted to check in anyway and see how you're going and how your experience has been, or whatever the conversation is. But I think after that first routine inspection is a good opportunity for the BDM just to touch base. And it's not to step on the PM's shoulders or undermine the PM by any means. There needs to be caution around that it doesn't be seen to be doing that to the PM or to the owner.
Yeah, for sure. So if someone listening just changed one thing tomorrow, what should it be?
The onboarding, for sure. It starts there. Just or even just if the onboarding's already happened, pick up the phone proactively and make a call to your client and check in. I think just start building on that positive relationship. It's never too late to turn it around. So if you're feeling like your relationships are negative, there is a lot of conflict arising with your clients throughout your portfolio, it's never too late to turn around. Just start with those little 1%ers, those touch points, making a call when you generally would send an email, mixing up that form of communication to get that relationship back on track. Be more responsive. That will change it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
BDMs that are listening, I really encourage you, if you don't already, we didn't even have this when I was a BDM in any agencies that I work for, but I would love to see more agencies do this, is typically get, like you said, Casey, earlier, we get the authority or agreement, whatever you guys call it in Australia. I know we all use different terms.
Yeah.
We usually get that signed. We get the owner instruction form. We get, their insurance details, bank details, but then there's nothing else. So what I would encourage you is to create an actual like onboarding form that's like, when's your birthday? What's your favorite donut or biscuit or whatever it is? Like, what are some things that we might not know about you, so that you can create those touch points in the future on a personal level. Like, let's just say it's Christmas. You can write your hand notes to your landlords at Christmas and being like, hey, Casey, on your form that you completed when we onboarded you, you said that your favorite biscuit was chocolate Tim Tam. So here's just a small gift, my token appreciation. Enjoy your Tim Tams with a hot chocolate on Christmas. Like something like that, team. I think it would be really great to have that. And the other thing, Casey, I would like to
talk to me.
The other thing is in property management for renters, same thing.
Yeah.
Like, if they're moving into a home, what support do they need? Like, I needed so much help. I needed a cleaner, a gardener. I needed boxes. Fuck, it was a nightmare to find boxes, right?
Yeah.
I needed food for the day, which like family did help. But how cool that you've, already said, hey, if you need food on the day that you're moving, here's a place that I recommend they can drop off food to your front door.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you think your tenants are going to feel when they're like, oh my God, I don't have to go find a removalist. Here's a recommendation.
Yeah.
I don't need to go source a cleaner. Here's a recommendation. Oh my God, you guys have boxes in your office. Yes, I would love to use them and return them. Like, it's paying it forward. I just like, as a renter, if I had have had that experience, I would have told everyone. I would have shared it on my socials. I would have probably done a TikTok video, which would have gone viral, and people would be like, "Oh my God, these agents!"
I would have gone viral.
Yeah, would have gone viral. Because they're the things that matter, right? We need to focus on what are the things that our landlords and renters need from us, and let's create that service. We are going way beyond property management now. And for any listeners, I think we're going to see a big shift this year in the ones that are implementing these small incremental touch
Yeah.
points, really showcasing their care, getting to know what their consumers need are the ones that are going to shine going
Yeah.
forward. Because
Yeah.
no longer is just managing properties, doing rent arrears, a condition report, and a routine inspection enough. It's not
Yeah.
enough anymore.
Yeah. 100%.
Agree?
Yeah. 1,000%. Yeah. They're the ones that'll rise above, rise above.
Rise above.
They will. They're the ones that'll stand out for sure.
Casey's details will be below in the episode details. Also, make sure you follow the Rental Network on Instagram. Casey's always up for a chat and she's a great support in our property management profession. Casey, thank you so much for joining today and, going deep into like, let's do better. Let's be the
Yeah.
change. Let's
Yeah. Let's
really
lead the
showcase
charge.
that care.
Yeah. No, it's been great. Thank you so much for having me. Loved it.
That's all right. And let's catch up again at the end of the year and maybe we can share some better stories and some success stories on
Yeah.
how our clients have taken away all of this and
Yeah.
implemented it and seen the benefits and the rewards from it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Done.
All right, Casey, have an amazing day. And for all of our listeners, as always, keep rising.